We are here at Mid-America Truck Show 2023 in Louisville, Kentucky. And I tell you what, it is just a fantastic show. I always love being here. And you know, you just get to see all kinds of new things and new products and new people. And then you also get to see some old friends, too, that acquaintances you've had over the years in the bulk business. And today I got Mr. Jared Flinn from BulkLoads here to visit with me a little bit. And what's going on, Jared?
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for bringing me on.
Isn't it great, man, to get to the Mid-America Truck Show and see all these people and get fired up about what's going on and push out the dry bulk industry?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as soon as I get out of the car and walk in the doors, like a smile comes on my face. It's just like, I don't know, it's just like a comforting feeling being here. Like,
in our world.
In our
surrounded by our people,
our tribe. Yeah. But what's even cool though, like you and I get to even support a smaller niche, this industry that we call bulk. And if most listeners probably know this, like we represent maybe 10%, 8 to 10% of the trucking industry, you know, and that's what I think is special. Like we can come here and we can promote how well and just how enjoyable we love the bulk commodity industry.
You know, all these years being in this, you have to constantly explain it. To people because, you know, like, what do you do? What's that? Now, I thought that was local stuff or, you know, no. I mean, you got to, it's been a career of explaining what we do.
What an end dump is actually versus a dry van versus a hopper bottom versus a refrigerated trailer.
it takes a time.
Or a box truck. Yeah.
Hey, let's talk a little bit about BulkLoads. Talking about explaining it to everybody. I think this is a good opportunity to explain BulkLoads to people and what it is, what it does. But first, I kind of like, you know, introduce yourself to our listeners. We have I love our listeners. You know, I feel like I'm always talking to Oakley owner-operators and their families, and I always like to educate them on different things in the bulk business. So Aero Truck Sales has been in business for over 60 years and a longtime partner of Oakley Trucking and the Oakley Podcast. Trey Visor and Keith Wilson do a great job at putting you in the right truck to fit your needs and our needs here at Oakley. They carry all makes and models to choose from with on-site financing through transport funding. So whether you are a seasoned owner-operator or a first-time buyer, be sure to contact Keith Wilson at Aero Truck Sales at 573-216-6047 and tell him you heard it on the Oakley Podcast. Give us a little introduction of yourself, and then we'll go into how BulkLoads got started.
Yeah. Well, I'm a good old farm kid, raised in eastern Missouri. Grew up on a 240-acre farm. Believe it or not, we had a sawmill, pallet mill, and that's kind of how I got my feet wet, you know, growing up in that industry. Hard manual labor every day. But loved agriculture, studied agriculture in college. After college, moved to Kansas City and worked for probably top 10 and probably top 5 grain trading company, Bartlett Grain. And that's where I really fell in love with the trucking aspect. Everybody knows this, but in the grain industry especially, everything revolves around freight, you know, whether it's truck freight, rail freight, barge freight, and vessel freight. And I found that there was like this need to expand on that. And I'll say this, like the company when I was working for, they were laser focused on rail freight and even barge freight, but they kind of kicked truck freight down the curb a little bit. They weren't focused on it. It was like, hey, can you find me a truck, or we'll just let somebody else manage that piece of the business. And I saw, man, there was an opportunity here. I mean, people know, and all commodity products, but it all starts with a truck. It's got to get moved by a truck. And so I just saw that there was this need to really learn how to enhance that technology, or enhance that industry with technology. And that's kind of how BulkLoads was brainstormed. And that was back, you know, BulkLoads, we're now on year 12, almost 13 years in business. And that was kind of the beginning of apps and all that. But I saw that there was this need that we could use mobile technology and apps to help connect shipping companies, trucking companies, and even freight brokers all on one platform to create kind of this neutral marketplace with full transparency.
And that's basically your website.
Yep, that's BulkLoads.com. Yep.
And that's where everybody can communicate and see what's out there in the bulk world. I'm sure you've got a lot. How many members do you have?
Yeah, so we proudly serve over 7,000 members today, and it's humbling. Like yesterday, even coming to Matt's and these guys and members coming by and introducing themselves, like I get a little emotional about it. I really do. Man, this started in a basement 12 years ago, and now we have, across all the entities, 48 employees, and we're just proud of the people that we get to serve. I mean, I'm so it's so humbling that people believed in us over the years.
From Eastern Missouri.
Yep.
Worked in Kansas City.
Yep.
Now your home is Springfield.
Springfield. Yep. My wife is from that area, and when we met, we started going down there, and I love Kansas City, but I'm an old country boy, and I told her, I go, honey, I want to live where I can see. I want to be able to drive home and see cow pastures and trees, and not stoplights and buildings.
Yeah.
And so she let me lead the way, and man, we love it down there in Southwest Missouri.
How long have you been married?
We are going on 16 years.
Kids?
So 3 kids, 13-year-old daughter, 10-year-old boy, and 8-year-old boy. So we have
hands full.
Yeah, a little hobby farm. We raise some cows. Actually got hogs, chicken, a little bit of everything, not big. But I always wanted my kids to experience what I experienced as a kid, and just those good old rural farm values.
Yeah.
And so I'm so thankful that we can instill that into my kids.
That goes a long way with kids.
It does.
At some point, it comes back to them, like it has you.
Yeah.
To what you learned growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, makes a big difference. You don't realize how big a difference it makes in your future.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're doing in the future.
Yeah, you can start looking back and reflecting now. I'm 43 years old, but like these moments and like how that led to where I am today, and some of those working in the sawmill and on the farm, how much I just despised and like that hard work and just not wanting to get up in the morning. I look back and what a blessing it was. To get me where I am today.
Yeah, it's amazing how we look back on some of the stuff that we did when we were kids, and it really took hold of us.
Yeah.
And you didn't realize it till you got a little bit older, but you kind of gravitate back to some of that stuff of what you learned, like with my grandpa, and taught me a lot of things, growing up and stuff, and it just it kind of hangs with you, and you appreciate it for sure.
I'll even add, really, I've had a reflection of like even mentors that I've had along the way, whether it was an FFA teacher, was it a boss that really believed in me? And I think we all have to have that. Yeah. And Jeremy, I'm now in that seat where like, hey, I have a responsibility to mentor those below me.
Yep.
And I don't take that lightly at all. Like that we now have to train and educate and mentor the next generation that's coming up in this industry.
Is that important in your business in BulkLoads?
I mean,
you seem to really take that to heart of making sure this is a reputable company that people respect.
Yeah, I think it all revolves around trust. I mean, the world we live in, but the business we live in, people have to trust you. They have to know that what you say is what you're going to do, that they can trust doing business with you. They know that you're going to be honest and sharp. And I think that's something you can't just advertise. And you can't just tell people that. Like, you can't say, hey, we're trustworthy. You have to prove that. And people have to know over the years that, hey, this guy is going to say what he's going to do, or do what he's going to say.
Yeah.
It's super important to me. You met, some of our team members here, and we have probably a younger group of guys, but I think I'm excited to mentor these men and women that we have working for us and just instill the values that I learned.
Because you'll turn around, Jared, and next thing you know, you got somebody working for you that could be your son.
That's right.
And I'm like, what
I
happened?
do, actually.
I'm like, what happened? It happened quick, but I was actually I was on the phone with one of the guys back at the office this morning, and I was talking to him about you, and I said, Jared has got that mentality similar to Oakley.
Yeah.
You can tell you're authentic about wanting to take care of the the bulk business and promote it, and it's your it's your life, like it is ours at Oakley. I mean, we have a lot of similarities, and I was telling him that about how you are about that, and that goes a long ways because we're in that phase like you are, I think, of passing that down to the people that are really working for us. I always say when we hire somebody, we need somebody smarter than me.
Yeah.
I need to definitely hire somebody smarter than me, because that's what's going to carry this company like BulkLoads on to the next level, I think.
Well, what I'll say this too, you brought up a key point. I mean, there's good businesses out there, and there's great businesses out there. And, you can walk around this conference, and there's businesses, you come up to them and they talk about their valuation, and they talk about how much money they're making and all that. And like, that doesn't impress me. That, like, what are you doing to take care of the customer? What are you doing to really change their lives? And if you change the life of a customer, and if you can improve their well-being and their life, you're going to have a customer for life, or a client for life. And I think that's where, we got to talk in, the industry's in a little bit of a slump. And we knew this, and we knew it was just a matter of time. But I take that really serious to how we can improve that. We have a forum on our load board where we have, a lot of guys comment on there. And some of it can get pretty heated and pretty negative. But as painful as it is to read some of that, we have to read that. We have to be listening to our customers, what they're saying, the pains they're going through. And I feel those pains for them. I feel like, hey, when they're not making payroll, when they can't afford fuel, hey, I may be in business, the next month.
So y'all actively read these forums?
We do, absolutely.
You respond to them?
We do, yeah. And there's some that we try to respond publicly, and then some that we respond just directly to these people. But I think it's a good business lesson. I'm like, you have to respond to customers, and sometimes it's not what they want to hear. Right. But you're truthful with them, and you're going to say, hey, it's tough right now. I know rates are down right now, but it's going to get better, and we're going to help you, and we're going to do everything we can. And we've had to shift even what we're doing on the bulk load side a little bit. It's been more of a carrier's market the past couple of years. So the carriers had freight coming at them every which direction. Right. Well, now it's a little bit more of a shipper's market. The carrier, he can't just go on and line up loads that easily. Like, he's got to do a little more hunting. He's got to kind of decipher through what loads are more profitable. So we're proactively working with those guys, either physically or creating technology tools to make them sharper on the load board. And I think that's where, like I said, you got to kind of keep working both ways. Yeah. And the company, like, it's never ending. Like, whenever you feel like you're up here, like, just watch out.
Get ready. Get ready.
You're going to get chopped back down.
It's going to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's the way it's been in this bulk business, up and down, up and down, up and down. Yeah. So I'm sure BulkLoads makes that a little steadier for people that, if you're a member of BulkLoads and you're specifically a carrier, then, that probably, I mean, as big as y'all are getting, you constantly got loads on there. They just got to piece them together a little bit. And that's, so is that, I guess let's go into that. Some of the services you offer, carriers and shippers, and, how exactly does that work?
Yeah. So we cater to kind of 3 different buckets. So we have all of our shippers, which these are companies that own the product and they're paying to get them shipped. So they get on there and they'll freely post these loads on there. And we cover all the United States, 48 states, and Canada. We don't do any Mexico. So we have shipper, and for bulk loads, we're all bulk commodities, probably, and it goes back and forth, probably a little more on the agribusiness side. So again, grain, feed, fertilizer, food ingredients. But so we have the shippers, we have the trucking companies, and those are the companies, owner-operators, fleets that are looking for those hauls. And then we have the freight brokers that are in the middle. And freight brokers, they can represent both sides. So they can be representing the shipper side or the carrier side. They can be posting loads or searching for loads. So we bring all these companies together into one neutral platform. And we have, I mean, I won't go into the details of it, but we allow carriers quickly to search for loads, find loads, book them. And really over the years, we've evolved to, we call it catering to the full load life cycle. So we do everything from finding the load all the way to paying the driver if they want. And these are all ones that they can use. We don't force any of it. So if they want to book the load through us and run it through us, we can. If they want us to get involved in the payment, we can do that. They can bill directly. So yeah, we're just trying to take away all those little pain points, especially some of these owner-operators face when hauling freight.
Lube Zone has opened a new location in Statesville, North Carolina. It's located north of Statesville on Highway 77, just west of Exit 59. Lube Zone services both single trucks and truck fleets, so whether you're driving through or you have a trucking company nearby, Lube Zone are the experts to turn to. Lube Zone's specialty is full-service oil changes that take approximately 30 to 40 minutes. They also offer tractor-trailer grease, gearbox service, generator service, reefer service, and DOT inspections. They also go the extra mile when it comes to quality control. What does that mean? That means your semi-truck is checked not just once, but twice to ensure all service and parts are good to go. Lube Zone does this so you can rest easy knowing that your truck is in top condition. No other service center knows semi-trucks better than Lube Zone. Check out lubezone.com for all their locations, and when you go in there, tell them you heard it on the Oakley Podcast.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to have them all in one place where you can just see bukus of loads or shippers can see trucks, available trucks in their area.
And I'll say this too, talking to a lot of truckers that came by the booth that are members on there, one of the things they say is like, Jared, I don't use your board all the time, but man, I need, there's times I just need it. And again, we love that. Like, hey, if you need this just when in a pinch, because again, we're hoping, and some people don't like this mental model, but like we're hoping that we help these companies find steady, long contracts, whether it's a freight broker or a shipper, because and people ask, well, then they're not going to need you. It's like, well, that's great. That's great. Like we've performed we've done our job.
Worked yourself out of a job.
We worked ourselves out of a job. But what we found out though, even though we found these companies that made those long lasting connections, they still stay on our board because they use it as a metric to kind of gauge the industry. They can get on there. They can see, hey, what are freight rates doing? Where are hot spots?
Right.
And again, there's, if you've been in the trucking industry, nothing ever happens as planned. Loads fall through, things. So you have that tool literally in your pocket at any time.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think that's a good point. It's kind of a base. You can get on there and see what's happening. I mean, I think we even use it, at Oakley.
Yep.
As
you
a
guys have been
membership.
You guys have been members with us since the beginning. So.
Yeah, I mean that's it. It's just a good, confidence thing to have, reliability to have on there that you know what's going on and you can kind of see what all the loads are and get loads from there.
Yep.
And I know typically you're, as far as Oakley owner operators, I mean, they can't go in there and book any loads,
right.
but Oakley Trucking can, and of course Oakley Freight Solutions now can and do some business that way. So it helps a lot. You never know when everybody's going to need it. So it's a good product to have. What's some of the other services? I didn't mean to interrupt you. What are other
I think
services?
this will add to your kind of what you're going to ask with other services. But like, what's cool about what you guys are doing, and you guys are providing the same service just in a different fashion than we are. Like you're taking away those pain points that owner operators have. Because what I've realized over the years, and I'm not lumping them all into one bucket, but most guys, they want to be their boss. They want to own the truck. They are, amazing at running that piece of equipment down the road. Yeah. Safety wise, they're safe. They know that they're from a mechanic standpoint. Most of these guys they know that truck inside and out. Yeah. Well, we found out a lot of them, not all of them, they need help on that back office. I tell you what, Jeremy, I don't like back office work. Like a lot of the functionalities, the accounting stuff we do for BulkLoads, a lot of the back, I don't do it. I subcontract that out. So we're doing the same thing for BulkLoads. Those guys that don't want to deal with the paperwork, they don't want to deal with all that back end stuff. They don't want to deal with. We have insurance, and I'll talk about some of these others. But we provide all those back office solutions, so the guy can really focus on what he loves to do. And some guys might say, and we've had well, we don't want to use your factoring company because I don't want to give away 2%. I'm like, yeah, but understand this, the time you're spending on that back, you're actually probably losing money by not focusing on growing the business and running the truck.
Yep.
And I mean that, and not all, but if you can find people, let them do what they're good at, and you focus on what you really love and what you're good at, you're going to grow so much more than being in the weeds with all of it.
Oh yeah, because you get down in the weeds. Quick.
Yeah.
And it's a battle because it's intimidating to become your own owner operator. Whether it's coming to Oakley and we supply everything, or whether you get your own authority, and have your own truck, trailer, insurance, and all that. Now that is intimidating, and it's a lot of paperwork, and it's a lot of stuff to keep up with. I run into a lot of guys that somehow they have coerced their wife into doing a lot of this stuff. Because when we have some guys lease on to us and they were running their own authority, Jared, they'll come over and they're like, I'll talk to them a month later, and they're like, man, my wife loves this place. Like, I'm so less stressed about doing this, now I can do what I love, and that's driving and taking care of customers.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yes. It makes a big deal.
You were asking about some of the other services that we had. So, like, again, we're now on year 12, almost 13 years in business. And, again, listening to the customers, we realized just these other pain points. So, 2014, we started a factoring company called Smart Freight Funding. It's based up in Omaha. So, we handle all the payments for the trucking companies that want to participate in. Again, we don't make it mandatory. They can, if they want to bill customers directly, totally fine. But if they need our services, we're there to help them out. But again, we've realized we've created this. It's not necessarily quick payment. The quick payment's good, but it's all that back office support. So now the driver, through our app, you can take pictures of the documents, goes right to our department. They get him paid, invoiced off. Again, easy. Over this past year, we also got into insurance. And again, listening to our customers, we realized that was another big pain point. Some of these guys were struggling to find good coverage, good affordable coverage. So we launched Bulk Insurance Group back in 2022. And I don't want to jinx ourselves. It's just crazy how much it's taken off. But you just don't realize that some of these industries just aren't being served like we think they deserve to be served. And that's why we're participating in them.
There's a need for that. And if you can get a one-stop shop, and I can get anybody's going to do that. I'm going to do that. If I need something, I'd rather get it all here, than have to go to 5 different places to get things done. One-stop shop, I like that.
It's like going to Walmart or going to Amazon. Like, if they can take care of the pharmacy and get your milk. And
when's the last time you've been to Walmart?
So we have one right up the road. We're there pretty frequently.
I haven't been there in very much. I hate to say.
Are you an online show up at the door type?
So my wife, we typically go pick up Walmart order after church on Sunday after church, swing by, pick up a Walmart order, bring it out to you,
Yeah.
Well, the other day I went in Walmart and I was like a kid in there. I was like, holy cow, I didn't realize all the stuff that they have in there, and I just walk around, I'm buying things right and left, I'm like, this is awesome. I've been looking for something like this. Didn't know they made something like this. I felt so sheltered,
I think they've had to sharpen their game.
Yeah.
It's some of these other competitors out there to,
What's the future look like for BulkLoads? Sounds like you're always progressing.
Yeah. Man, that's a great question. I think for us right now, trying to strengthen our brand. They always say it takes 10 years to build a brand. So we're in that stretch now, and kind of how do we utilize that? And again, we've using our brand to reach out into these other segments like insurance and factoring. For us, it's really drilling down and trying to figure out really these pain points with the drivers. And, if there's more stuff we can do on the back end with paperwork, if there's things we can do more from a credit standpoint, financing standpoint on equipment or trucks, that's something we're looking at. Again, we haven't really got laser focused in that, but I think that's kind of where we're looking. Technology right now, it's scary and exciting at the same time. Like the past, here just recently they're talking about this AI, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. And I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole, but where there's some companies here that they have these processes now that it's all done by AI. You can put an invoice in and it spits you out, no human intervention whatsoever. It reads the tickets and
AI is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Just so listeners know, because it took me a little while to figure that out.
Yeah. But it's almost like there's this is my view of it, but it's learning. You've created a system that's actually learning itself almost. So it's like there's a little bit of scaredness. And I just saw that there's been some warnings about we may need to be slowing down on that. I think it's cool technology, but then what's the landscape looking like that? So that's where we're a technology company when it's really said and done. But how do we just from when we were day one starting this business, how do we use technology to benefit our industry?
Do you also cater to the old school drivers? You know,
We do. Yeah.
How do you cater to them?
Oh,
I mean, there's only one way to
yeah. There's
call them and
call. The first thing you hear it's funny you say that, but like the first thing you hear when you talk to the old school guys, it's like, I'm not very tech savvy.
Yeah.
And you know our reply back to them? It's like, we're not either.
Yeah.
We're going to learn this together. And I mean, that's where we've also focused. Like, we have a lot of in-house support people by design, because we know that we have to be coaches to a lot of these guys to teach them how to use our software and technology. And again, it's not hard to use. We don't think it is, but to a lot of these older guys, these old school guys, it's very intimidating to it.
Mm-hmm.
I always say there's kind of this process with these old school guys in technology. It's like, first they're frustrated, then they're pissed, and then they just give up.
Yep.
And you got to catch them before that happens, because it's like, hey, but if you catch them before that, a lot of times you hear it's like, man, this is a lot easier than I thought it'd be. Like, hey, doing this scanning these documents this way and getting them sent, this is a lot easier than spending $18, $20 and overnighting it, times how many days a year. Like, there's some incredible savings along the way.
I know.
So again, I have a lot of respect and empathy to help these gentlemen and women out in the industry.
Yeah, we have to too. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, it's a battle. It's a challenge, but we brought along so many of them that they, change is not many people like change, but once you show them once or twice,
yeah,
and they're like, that's all there is to it. Oakley Trucking is a 100% owner-operator company. We specialize in hopper bottom, end dump, and pneumatic trailers. We provide the trailer free of charge, and you provide the truck. We have a large customer base that reaches the whole United States as well as parts of Canada. Our owner-operators live anywhere from Texas to North Carolina to Pennsylvania to Wisconsin and everywhere in between, and we get them home weekends. We take it seriously when you join Oakley Trucking because we need you to be successful. Oakley offers great benefits and competitive mileage pay, so you know that when your wheels are turning, you're generating money no matter if you're loaded or empty. We understand that you want to make a good living and that you make our living. We only take on independent contractors, and to be honest with you, we are very particular on who we lease on. You must have a good driving record, good work history, and clean, dependable truck. So if you're interested in Oakley Trucking or just want some more information, you can go to oakleytrucking.com, listen to our weekly podcast, The Oakley Podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's all there is to it.
I think too, Jeremy, we underestimate how somebody might say they're not tech savvy, but like you're a lot more tech savvy than like we underestimate how tech savvy some of the older population is. And when I say older, I say maybe that 50 plus. Like a lot of these guys, they know how to do all that. I mean, they're on social media, they're all over the place.
I got a great example of this yesterday. So I was standing here at the show, and a couple guys, older guys, come up. I'd say 70s, and I was talking about the podcast to them. They're like, I don't know what that is. I said, well, what kind of phone you got? Well, one of them, they both got iPhones or, smartphones. Whip it out. And I said, well, you got this little button right here that says podcast. He pulls it out, says, yeah. I said, well, you touch that. And then he searched for the Oakley Podcast. And, I said, then you can listen to it. He said, oh, I've got Bluetooth hearing aids. I said, okay, you're not, because that's the first thing he says, oh, we don't know any of that technology. And I'm like, you don't know. You got Bluetooth hearing aids.
I didn't even know there was such a thing. That's pretty cool.
Said, you know what's going on. So it was funny anyway to do that. So you're right. That they're a little smarter than we give them credit a lot of times because we see it happen in the office all the time. They're sharper than we are.
Yeah.
Definitely on these phones and stuff because they live them, but and there's not near as many now that don't want to embrace that. It seems like there's a whole lot more that want to embrace the technology and doing things better. So it's going good.
You guys know that they're going to have to jump on board, or you're going to be obsolete. You're talking about podcasts. I just want to kind of selfishly give a plug. We have we have our own podcast, the BulkLoads Podcast. Really enjoy, or would really encourage to check that out. Again, very similar to the Oakley Podcast, we do everything in bulk freight trucking. So we bring on a lot of different guests, whether it's other technologies out there. We have insurance experts, legal experts. So we really try to encompass anything that may be of interest or challenge to that driver down the road. But you can go any podcast medium that you're listening to, Spotify, Apple, Google, just search the BulkLoads podcast, download it. Man, we'd love for you to listen to that.
Good stuff. You've been doing it for years too.
Yeah, we're on year 6.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and we, when we first started, I had a guy that was coaching us, and he told us, he said, the one thing, you have to be consistent.
Yep.
And he goes, you have to push one out every week. And he goes, it's going to be painful at times to do that, because, and this, like, it's sometimes like, we kind of get together and brainstorm ideas, and sometimes it organically comes and you find people, but like sometimes you're like, hey, what's going to be, because again, you don't want to push something out just to push something out. You're
right.
You're thinking like, if I'm going to listen to this, what would I enjoy listening to? So that's what we've really done. But
it does take a little bit of, not to get off on the podcast, but it takes a little bit of thinking what would be interesting to your listeners.
Yeah.
And I walk around the show thinking, what would be interesting to them that I could talk to somebody here about that would be good, instead of just trying to push something out that's, I got to have one out this week. I don't have one done yet, and it's Friday. It's coming out Wednesday, and and then you try to hurry up and do it, and that's what I don't want to do. So
we had several guys stop by yesterday, and they said, man, I listen to your podcast religiously every week, and they're not even BulkLoads members. Like, they're not even in the bulk industry. And I was like, man, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, you're making an impact in that way. So
yeah, that's good. It's a great podcast. You do a great job on that. Always have. I've listened to several of them, and it's good stuff.
Appreciate that. We're thinking we're going to go, you can listen to them on YouTube as well. We don't do video yet, but that just seems like the next.
So you have a YouTube channel?
We have a YouTube channel, BulkLoads. You can go on there, and we do all of our videos, and we post our podcasts on there, but we don't do video recordings of the podcasts themselves. Gotcha. Are you doing that, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Now? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to be on YouTube.
Okay. There we go. But I think
the first time
we're gonna have to up our game.
The first time you were on Oakley Podcast, it was no video. I think we just
it was
one
just
of the early ones. It was
just
there wasn't no video on it, so we've come around a little bit. So.
Well, I've heard the people, and myself too, you're going to retain so much more watching and listening at the same time. So it's like it's just that much more powerful, for the listener, but also for the podcaster as well, the content that you're pushing out.
Yeah. Appreciate you being with me, Jared. Good information, man. I always enjoy visiting with you and seeing you kind of on the same page when it comes to this bulk business, and I really enjoy it. If anybody has any questions, I'll tell them to send them to me, or they'll go to your website, BulkLoads.com, and probably got a place there they can comment or talk to somebody.
Yeah, I'll say this too. We're subscription based, but anybody can go on there and sign up for free, and we do give a lot of content out for free. So even if you're just thinking about the industry, wanting to learn what we do, go on there and sign up. We're not going to pressure you in to pay us or anything like that. We want to just show you kind of what we're about. We've had a lot of guys too that they've signed up. They didn't have a truck yet, but then we've kind of coached them and learned, and then they eventually get set up and start pulling freight off there. But yeah, go to BulkLoads.com. Again, search our podcast too. You can find the podcast on our website as well.
Good deal, man. Good visiting with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Love what you guys are doing as well.
You bet. Y'all too. See you.
God bless.
Thank
Thanks.
you.